be working now. It's just as well I needed to sort something out because my cider wasn't done heating up. I've got to get more of this. That is almost gone. Whoo! This is 90 proof honey bourbon is what this is. So yes, it's quite good. It's local, and it's got a kick to it. Hey everybody, how y'all doing? Hope everybody's doing well. It's September, which means it's cider season. Ha 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 ha. Oh, that's the stuff. Hope everybody's doing okay. Water with more yummy water. Exactly, Joel. That's exactly what we're doing today. Are they a nice company? I think so. I haven't been to their distillery or anything. I have been to a number of the local distilleries in the area. There's one very close to me that does amazing maple rum, which I also need to get more of. And I also need to send more to Jessie because she's burned through what I've sent her of that twice now. So I'll say at the front end that this is your reminder that while I will try and keep up with the chat, the only thing that is going to guarantee that I see and respond to your comment and or question will be if you do it as a super chat, which will also get you the little gay heart of appreciation. Otherwise, we'll just chill and chat and hang and see what goes. I have COVID for the first time, and it's my birthday. I had a COVID scare earlier this week. Thankfully, knock on wood, thankfully, I didn't end up catching it. But yeah, not to do myself, but I haven't gotten it yet, which seems to be an increasing rarity. Almost done with nursing school. Why did I do this to myself? Oh, pirates. Speaking as the child of a professional nurse. Yep. I sympathize. You're going to Rose City Comic Con or Oregon and Maine, very different despite both having a lot of trees. Well, Portland, Maine, Portland, Oregon. Yes, they are decidedly different. And yes, I will be at Rose City Comic Con this coming weekend. Saturday is going to be my day actually on the con floor. I'll just be around. I'm not part of a panel or presenting or anything. And I will be masked. So if you're trying to spot me, keep in mind, from there down, it's just going to be black. 90 proof is a love tap? Context. We should talk. How's my day been? It's been okay. I finished editing Saturday's video, which will be up in early access on Patreon and YouTube members before the end of the day today. I had one uploading, but I had to stop it to do the stream because I can't upload stuff and stream at the same time. The whole thing kind of collapses if I try and do that. Watched Thunderbolts on Friday, loved it. I have wanted to see it since it hit Disney Plus. I have not had the time. And I know people think, oh, you always say you don't have time, to go to the movies. Yeah, it's not an issue of like finding time to physically go to the movies. It's finding time to watch a movie. Like 2 hours of time to sit down and watch something, that is hard to find at this point. I got it in 2022, caused brain clots. Yee! Yikes. And your house burned down the same week? Oh my goodness, Jetpack. That... Did you cross a witch? Did you step on a fairy circle? Like, that's a lot. Nearly finished watching the Demons. The Doctor Who story? I still haven't seen that one. That's on my to-do list. Based on what I've read in your channel description and the badge you often wear, is your preferred pronoun she? Yeah. I mean, like, they is perfectly fine. And there are some days that I feel more they than I feel she. But, yeah, she is definitely what most people use at this point, and I'm quite cozy with it. Your new corset's so beautiful. Can you shout out the maker again? Sure, Hypno. Of course, now I'm wondering which new corset is being referred to, because depending on where you saw it, I've been showing off new corsets in a couple of different platforms with very different audiences. But all of them came from the same place, so that's an easy solution. Corset Story. A few times a year, they will run a deal. It's usually 5 for 1, where you get 5 corsets and you only pay for the most expensive one. And I watch out for that deal, and I've done it a few times, and it's been well worth it. Got a bit of the Genshin Impact bug. I've been playing nothing but that in the past week. Have you ever played it? Nope, Jamie, and I have no interest. Like, my poison when it comes to predatory mobile games is Marvel Puzzle Quest. I've been on that for about a decade, and I don't plan to stop. And I think I should just keep to one addiction. And to be clear, like, I don't spend money on it, but I don't need other things tempting me. You'll be glad to know these days in nursing school, they do teach about care of trans patients and teach use of preferred pronouns. That's good. Probably won't be the case for much longer, but that's good. That said, some teachers are conservative boomers, and listening to them struggle as they teach about trans care makes my teeth itch. No, I can imagine. I live in Georgia. We just had our Dragon Con. Yeah, I know some people who were at that. I've never been to Dragon Con. Excuse me. I haven't actually been to that many different cons. The Vermont Comic Con doesn't happen anymore. I used to go to that. I've been to, well, it's not Boston Comic Con anymore. It's now Boston Fan Expo. I've been to that. I've been to Terrificon. That's in Connecticut. And I've been to Gallifrey 1 multiple times. And this will now be the 3rd time I'm going to Rose City Comic Con, which I quite enjoy. Corset with the celestial print, dark blue with white print. Yeah, that I figured that was probably the one you meant. Hypno, I had to laugh just at the fact that my brain even had to go, wait, which platform have you shown off the course on? Because there's a few, and they're different. Just finished work, so I'm here just after midnight. So we'll be on until the night hall kicks in. Whatever works, Jack. The lucky, in quotes, thing was I was in hospital, so not there for the fire. That sounds like Fey nonsense. I think you might have stepped on a fairy circle. I know you've had some problems with Battlestar Galactica lately, but I'm curious, who is your favorite character currently? Currently... I'm trying to think of, like, one of the major characters, because, like, it's one of those shows that at this point where, like, saying one of the minor side characters, like Doc Cottle or something, feels like a cheat because he's barely there. Probably Rosalind at this point. And yeah, I'm trying to approach new episodes in at least good spirits. So we'll see if that works. Dharma, thank you very much for re-upping your YouTube membership. 44 months, gender fluid trans joy. Very happy to have you here. And weird pronouns don't matter to me. It's when folks break out the adjectives. Yeah, fair. Fair. I now officially own 19 Stephen King books and I'm running out of space on my shelf. I still have yet to actually read a Stephen King book all the way through. I started some 2, maybe 3 times. So I can't quite put my finger on it. There's something about the guy's writing just doesn't grip me. Do you think Baltar knows people think he's a bit duplicitous and shifty? When he reads that letter and got upset, I thought, wait, this is news to you? No, okay. So I think what it is 255, it's not that, like, he knows he's duplicitous and shifty, but he also thinks he's smart, which means he thinks he's getting away with it. You know, it's the same thing like when a habitual liar gets caught. The emotional response tends to be offense. And it's usually offense to ego because they thought they were good enough to not be getting caught at it. I haven't been to many cons, but I have been in cons. Nice, Jenny. It's okay to love Doc Cottle. I do love Doc Cottle, but like he is a very minor character. That feels like no, I can't think of an appropriate. I mean, like that feels like saying your favorite Next Generation character is Ensign Rowe. Like, it's not that that's invalid, but it's like, really? By the way, Vera, it's confirmed that Mike Flanagan's new Stephen King adaptation is a remake of Carrie. Thoughts? Why? Like, hey, it's not even a matter of the original one like being unimpeachable or something, but like they've tried to remake that or like continue it or spin off from it or other stuff multiple times. It's never been good. Like, again, not that the original one is unimpeachable, but it is at least to my understanding, a good enough representation of the book that there isn't much to do unless you substantively change it. Which, I mean, Flanagan might. Although he seems to be more willing to do major alterations with older stuff than with Stephen King. But I don't know. I still haven't seen as much of his stuff as I'd like to. Have you seen the Postal movie? Nope. No interest. I have no interest in supporting Uwe Boll. I've heard that it's the best thing he ever did. I mean, that's a low bar. But no. I have no interest in that one. That is something like that is very much on the somebody would have to pay me list. There's some funny stories about how whenever the actors of Ty and Cottle would get together, nobody could understand them because they would start talking in old man mumbles. I buy that for sure. Just started reading 11/23/63 in The Long Walk. The Running Man is a good one, but contains lines that'll make you go, oh, right, this was written in the 70s. Yeah, I mean, that is one of the things about reading stuff from somebody who's been writing that long. I am curious to see the movie of The Long Walk, because that is a concept I find really interesting. And like I've liked a number of the film adaptations of his stuff. So like it's not his core ideas that don't work for me. It's something about his actual narrative style. And again, I have not been able to put my finger on it. I've since got over this, but when I started watching Battlestar Galactica, I didn't like Rosalind because she looks a little like Sarah Palin. Oh, see, I didn't have that at all because my immediate thought was like, oh, look, the first lady from Independence Day now gets to run things. Cool. So, my skills and experiences are diverse media beverages, etc. Rosalind gets more interesting going forward. Ooh, I'll be here for that. And she's been interesting already so far. Like her arc as a character has been really good. I think part of the thing that might be an issue for me with that is that I haven't found too many of the character arcs to be particularly compelling, and a surprising number of characters actually haven't really had much of them. Rosalind has, and hers has been quite interesting, but a fair few of the characters feel a lot more static, which is odd for a show as much into telling a larger continuous story as Battlestar Galactica is. Coyote Azul, thank you very much for the super chat. The talk of pronouns use has the Schoolhouse Rock song for adjectives, adverbs, and pronouns going through my head. See, Schoolhouse Rock was a little before my time, and it didn't get the kind of repeat play that like older episodes of Sesame Street did or stuff like that. Oh my goodness. Oh wow, Erica. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. That is incredibly generous. Happy September. Vera, wishing you long days and pleasant nights. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate that. That is... Ooh. I wasn't quite prepared for that. Like, part of my brain was like, why is the notification red? Then it's like, wow, whoa, okay. Anything written by Stephen King from 1974 to 1985 was written in a coke-fueled drunken stupor, and King admits he doesn't remember writing most of the stuff from that time period. Oh, I know, Jamie. Like, I might not get the exact quote right, but I remember him talking about his substance abuse problems, and at one point in, like, with some interview, saying, yeah, Cujo was a pretty good book. Wish I could remember writing it. Anyone have any tips for tracking down relatively rare copies of old kids' books? No. I mean, eBay would be my first thought. Did you hear Kaiser Permanente stopped paying for trans kids' care, even though they mainly operate in blue states where it's not under legal threat? Yeah, but there's federal pressure. This is exactly what I said was going to happen. 255. So had I heard that specifically? No. It feels like I already have, because I said that was going to happen. King is sober 40 years coming this October. Good for him. Very good for him. I do love Baltar, but I think the performance is what sells it more than the writing. James Callis is very good at playing a true piece of crap, although I do love his voice work as Alucard. Funny thing, I didn't realize he voiced Alucard until that got mentioned in it might have even been by you. But it got mentioned in a comment on the episode that went up in the break room today. No, not today, yesterday. That he voiced Alucard. I was like, oh, dang. I did not even realize that. I gotta rewatch Castlevania. That show's really good. Faves, Rosalind, Adama, Baltar, 6, but at that point I'm just listing mains. See, like 6 is an interesting pull because my immediate question is which one? Do you distinguish or do you count them all as the same character? Because I wouldn't. Sometimes Internet Archive has online copies of books. That's true. I can kind of relate because I took a gummy to get more inspired. At least I'm not drinking. Yeah, that stuff just makes me want to sleep. Eat and sleep. So, like, I have a hard time imagining being productive on that stuff. I mean, granted, I've never been on cocaine. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll try it. That's a joke. I would not, like, I legit have no interest. I have literally turned down coke. I believe Erica's donation message, Long Days and Pleasant Nights, is a Dark Tower reference, by the way. Oh, nifty! Thanks for catching that. I would not have. So, yeah, that's a nice extra touch there. Sometimes people Sometimes people clearing out after a family member has passed. Ah, yeah, that can be rough. Thrift stores sometimes have old kid books. They do, but like that's a needle in a haystack approach. Uppers are not for me. Well, I mean, like, technically I'm already on uppers because my ADHD meds are uppers, but you know, obviously I'm not getting the same kind of impact as somebody who does not have ADHD would. Agreed. I've never seen the appeal of hard drugs. That stuff scares me, to be honest. Like, drinking I get, but I'd like drinking I only ever got into to the extent of it being social. Like, that's not to say I don't drink on my own, though I do consider this to be social drinking. Social drinking. But you know, I started drinking because it was a social activity. Hard drugs, not so much. At least not with anybody that I personally would care to socialize with. Maybe I had the wrong set of friends to ever fall down that rabbit hole. Which works for me. Turning down coke is a wild mood. I've had to do that a lot as well. I haven't had to do it a lot, but I did used to work in a gay bar. I was offered a few things over the years that I turned down. Well, over the year. I only worked there for about a year. But I was offered things a couple of times that I was like, no, I'm good. And they were actually quite nice about it. But yeah, that was the main place where I found myself turning down drugs. Reading the Dark Tower books would be a terrible way to start reading Stephen King. I'm sure as the series goes on, that's true. I mean, at least my understanding of it. Is that true of the first one? Isn't that one relatively approachable? I mean, after that, like, I miss Walden books. They would always have sales with mostly classics, and used to love buying those books. Walden was a nice place. Yeah, that was a shame. But finding something at a thrift store can be quite satisfying. Oh yeah, sure. I don't disagree, Aaron. I just don't think going into a thrift store looking for something specific is going to result in much more than disappointment. Going to a thrift store to see whatever you find, that can be fun. But if you're after something specific, that's going to be a frustrating approach at best. My girlfriend does, quote, herb because of her MS and help her appetite. I'm pretty much straight edge aside from cider and cocktail from time to time. I like well over a decade ago, I would occasionally herb. Has been a very long time. I don't really miss it. What the heck is that? Hang on, there's something on the floor. What is this? What is my foot hitting? Oh. Throw that out. Have you ever read the Chronicle of Narnia series? Only the first one. Never really had a particular pull to read the rest of them. If I was an SNL cast member back in the 70s, the Coke access would be wide open to me, but I wouldn't take any. Given the kinds of schedule those people would be on, I think you would have burned out very quickly if you weren't on Coke. The first Dark Tower book is like a typical spaghetti western. It's like a cross between Fallout New Vegas and Red Dead Redemption. Interesting. That is one of the ones I tried to read and couldn't quite get into. I think we still have local wine and books bar. Sounds like my kind of place. The used bookstore near me closed a few months ago. Boo. No, we've still got one in town. They get a fair few donations, so I think that probably helps. I think they also have an affiliation with the library. I think so. I'm not positive on that though. The second Dark Tower book is the weirdest late night HBO special you will ever see. I don't even know what to make of that. What do you think of Unit's representation in RDT's era so far? In my opinion, Kate is the only one I find interesting. I mean, the thing is, Kate was kind of the only one I found interesting in the first place. like, I liked Oswin well enough, but there has not really been an attempt to, well, I suppose you could argue RDT is attempting to build a supporting cast for Unit, except it's been really inconsistent. Like, the Vlinks was there and then was not there and then was there again. And, oh, crap. What's her name? The science advisor, whose character name I can't remember. Like, she was there and then suddenly it was like an 11-year-old and then she was back again. Like, there's been an inconsistency that definitely hasn't helped. I don't know. I don't find Unit super interesting unless there's a story that they are well suited for. Like, I thought they worked well for Lucky Day, which is an episode I feel like people are souring on in the wake of the end of that season. I still think it's pretty solid. I'm reading Wheel of Time. I'm stuck on book 11. Yeah, just the sentence, I'm stuck on book 11, is the kind of thing that makes me go, nope. How are we doing? Well, doing all right, Purple Raider, and thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it greatly. That is very, very nice of you. Yeah, doing okay. I'm gonna have to check the Discord in a minute. Well, in 2 minutes, technically, but, you know, whatever. Who's counting? Me! It's me. I am counting. Yeah, it's overstuffed and underdeveloped. Maybe the miniseries will do better. We'll see. It's odd that, like, they appear to be bringing in a brand new character who we haven't already seen as a Unit person, like, to be the front person for that. I don't know. The era doesn't seem to have interest in most of the characters other than Kate, despite having loaded it up with them. It's odd. Already been 30 minutes? Almost, Coyote. Almost. I did, old web shooter. Yeah, I did. I did a Blue Sky about that, which is an awkward thing to say. I think they're technically called skeets. I'm not doing that. But yeah. For folks who didn't know, Warwick Davis has signed on to the Harry Potter series to play Professor Flitwick again. Yay. I've never counted, but I own all of Narnia, the Space Trilogy, and the Screw Tape Letters, and Until We Have Faces. Oh, that's quite the run. Yeah, I'm not sure there's any writers where I've read their entire body of work. Probably the closest I've come is Douglas Adams. There's a couple of, like, small side things that he did that I haven't hunted down. But, yeah, he might be it. Honestly, I have no interest in the Doctor Who spinoff thing. It just doesn't look good to me. It looks completely neutral. To me, if I'm being honest, like, I'll watch it because why not? But, yeah. There isn't a lot that's exciting me right now. Peacemaker's good. I'm enjoying that. And Alien Earth is great. And I'm enjoying that. But yeah, that's kind of it. Star Trek Strange New Worlds is, this season, holy crap. Jeez. After Peacemaker finishes, though, I think I'm going to get rid of my HBO Max subscription. As it's not worth the money. When you say my Rat Wrangler isn't here right now is at the end of your videos, is that a book reference? Nope, that's literally true. Check the credits. I literally do have a credit for Rat Wrangler. They were busy last time I shot the outro. Saw Douglas Adams when I was in college. It was hilarious. Oh, I'm a bit jealous. All right, I need to pop over to the Discord channel, which, as a reminder, is an exclusive perk for $2 and above Patreon subscribers on the Couch Live Geeks Patreon. But let me pop over there and see the questions. Doesn't look like we have too many, so I should be able to get through these relatively quick. Maybe it's me. I ramble. I rant. You know this. That's why you're here. How would you feel if a show introduced a character who seemed very stereotypically gay, but then put them in a straight relationship, like for the sake of like bucking expectations? Back in the early 2010s, I used to watch a Canadian fantasy drama show called Being Erica. It was partly set in a publishing house, and there was like a very stereotypically queer-seeming secretary character who worked there. And they did a plot where he entered into a relationship with a woman with the obvious intent being to make a point about assuming things based on presentation. I've honestly seen it done too many times. I've seen it done repeatedly, and it's not that clever. Like, it's fine. It doesn't offend me. But, like, at this point in time, you missed the window for that to be subversive. I've seen it done way too many times. Mostly in the 2010s. So, yeah, no. How would I feel about it? I would feel like you think you're clever and you're not. That's how I would feel about it. I said I'm reading a book set in the future where everyone lives in space stations run by corporations because said corporations destroy the environment. I'm also watching Alien Earth, which is set in a similar, if slightly less bleak timeline. Do we need more visions of a future in sci-fi that aren't just worse capitalism? I don't necessarily mean more leftist utopia fiction like Star Trek or The Culture, just future humans organizing themselves in entirely different ways. That would be nice. Like, it would be interesting to see more writers take on the challenge of like, okay, what if we got rid of capitalism, instituted a whole new system, but because it was made by people, it's also flawed and didn't result in a utopia. So like, there's definitely problems. It's just not the exact same problems we're dealing with now. It'd be interesting as an exercise, if nothing else. So far, Battlestar Galactica's main method of trying to create sympathy for or humanize the Cylons seems to be showing them having their bodily autonomy horribly violated. Yep, I have noticed that. Would you feel better about that story choice if the two main Cylons we see weren't in femme bodies? Probably like saying I'd feel better about it feels like the wrong way to put it. I don't think it would stand out as much if the two primary Cylons that we have been dealing with, as far as I'm in the show, weren't both women. It makes it way easier to notice the pattern because it's already a pattern to treat women characters like that. So yeah, it makes it easier to spot and kind of highlights the problem a bit. But I would hesitate to call it better. It would be less immediately noticeable. Let's go with that. It'd be less immediately noticeable if at least one of them was not femme presenting. Which do you believe is the most overrated series of Doctor Who? Ooh. I think... I think... I'm going off of memory because I haven't really put my finger on the pulse of the fandom for where the general consensus is for where the series fall. But going off the last time I did kind of check the pulse on that, I would say series 2 is the most overrated. I think it's because people A, love Tennant, B, love Tennant and Rose, and that kind of blinds them to the fact that there's a lot of weird wonkiness in that series. Like a lot. Between New Earth, Fear Her, freaking Idiot's Lantern, good grief. Like, there's good stuff too. The Satan Pit 2-parter is great. The finale 2-parter is solid. But, yes, series 2, I think a lot of people give it a pass because they like that pairing. With the news of John Kulshaw voicing the 12th Doctor for Big Finish, do you feel as strongly about new actors voicing past incarnations of the Doctor as you do them being recast for live action? As strongly, no. Do I dislike it for effectively the same reasons? Yes. Yeah. I don't like it. Like, I've literally... I've basically literally told the managing director of Big Finish to his face that I don't like that they do that. But obviously, like, they're doing their own thing. And other people like it, which, great. But yeah, I don't have... It does not make me feel as uncomfortable as when they do it, like, to actually perform the part. That I'm like, just don't. I don't love them doing it for the voices, but Big Finish is a side thing anyway. It's something for the more devoted fans, so that is less likely to alter the perception of what the character is than casting a whole new person to play a previous incarnation in the show is liable to do. Do you think there's such thing as left-wing outrage merchants? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Unfortunately. For example, there's one left-wing YouTuber I follow called Jack Saint, and while I agree on a lot of his takes, it bothers me as a tendency to frame every TV show and movie like he talks about it in the most negative possible way, either by focusing on the most problematic aspects of the narrative or by dissecting and making counter-arguments against criticisms the right have levied against it. I'm not saying he's wrong, I just think it might be a similar case of the algorithm pushing him towards increasingly negative content. I mean, the algorithm pushes all of us to be negative because negativity sells. So no matter what your political, social, or general view on things is, YouTube wants you to be negative. And if you pay attention to your own analytics, it's going to nudge you that way regardless. See, it's funny that you mentioned that because, like, the stuff that came to my mind is a lot more the sort of news story reactor types who will, pull up, some news story or some bad take from some right-wing source to then get mad about and, assist their audience in getting mad about. That was a bit more what came to my mind. It definitely exists. It's also stuff I go out of my way to not watch or be aware of or ever stumble ass backwards into, because I've seen people do that. I've seen people get on the radar of some people who are ostensibly politically aligned with them, but who just are unpleasant when they feel challenged. Let's go with that, and we'll move on before I name names and get in trouble. Are there any movies you think represent burlesque particularly well? I'm sorry. The first thing that came to my mind was The Great Mouse Detective. Let me be good to you. The thing is, I think most things that have tried to portray burlesque, they're much more interested in portraying sort of the golden age of burlesque, first half of the 20th century. Stuff like apology for the word that I'm about to say. I know some people don't like it, but it's the name of the frickin' play, so I have to. Gypsy, for instance, I think portrays that certain era of burlesque pretty decently. But I haven't really seen anything capture a good sense of the modern era of burlesque. That said, I've never seen the Cher and Christina Aguilera movie. I also don't want to, so, any thoughts on the 50s and 90s Body Snatchers or The Faculty? I've seen the 50s one. It is solid. It's a bit, stilted and dry like a lot of 50s sci-fi is. I feel the same way about The Thing from Another World. I actually have not seen the 90s version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I should. I keep meaning to. But I haven't seen that one. The Faculty's fun. Faculty's a lot of fun. Faculty is very 90s, but it's a lot of fun. Thoughts on calls for a hard reboot of Doctor Who? There's my thought. That's not directed at the questioner. That's directed at the concept and the idea and the notion. I've done a whole video on why Doctor Who should never, ever, ever, ever be hard rebooted. It is one of the few and only long-running franchises that truly has no need for it. Because, I can go off on how I don't like when they do hard reboots in DC Comics and whatnot, and like my thoughts on that. But there is at least a conversation to be had. I cannot think of a single thing that Doctor Who would benefit from with a hard reset that you couldn't just do with a new regeneration. You want to take the character in a new direction? Cool. New generation, new personality. You want to untangle the lore? Cool. Just don't deal with it. Just don't. Like, have a new regeneration, new personality, new era, new adventures. Don't touch any of the old stuff. Go forward your own new path. You don't want to deal with all the old lore. You don't have to. I'd say because the Doctor is always traveling. Like, in the case of, again, comic books is the easy comparison. I'm going off on this one a bit, can you tell? Comic books is the easy comparison. So, like, you can't fully ignore the continuity in something like Batman, because the continuity isn't just about him. It's about Gotham. It's about Robin. It's about his rogues gallery. And, like, unless you take him out of Gotham, you still have to deal with all of that or hard reset it. The Doctor can just go to a time and place where his continuity is irrelevant. There is literally no need to ever hard reboot Doctor Who. That is a stupid idea, and I would throw a wet sponge at anybody who suggested that it should be done if they were in my presence. I wouldn't throw it that hard. I would throw a wet sponge, though. Okay, I'm back in the main chat now. Supreme Omega! Thank you very much for the super chat. Good to see you in. Rewatched episode 1. Star Wars episode 1. Fans dunk on Jar Jar and Jake Lloyd, but the real issue is that the cast sound like robots. Also, it is a mid-film, not a hashtag ruin my childhood. Yeah, it was never a ruined anybody's childhood movie. It just wasn't. Like, here's the thing. Jake Lloyd is a problem, but not because of the actor, because of the writing decision to have Anakin be 9. Anakin should have been like 14 or 15. That would fix a lot. And yeah, I think we forget that in that first movie especially, George Lucas got really lucky that he put together a cast of people who could figure out how to make his dialogue work. Like, it's a very famous line from Harrison Ford talking about the way that George Lucas would write dialogue. And he's like, George, you can write this shit, but you don't have to say it. But, you know, those core 3 found a way to deliver it and make it work. And then you had people with just such great presence, like Peter Cushing and James Earl Jones with his voice. And, oh my God, Alec Guinness. There we go. Who just brought so much gravitas and weight to their lines that they made it work. I think we forget how lucky he was with that cast, because I think the main thing that episode 1 showed was what the first Star Wars would have felt like if he had gotten a cast of people who didn't know how to wrangle his dialogue. Excuse me. Just scrolling back for a second. I didn't realize that queer seeming character actually turns out to be straight thing was an established trope. I've only seen it once. I mean, it depends on the kind of media you take in. Like, the most prominent thing that's coming to my mind was Ugly Betty did it, but I know I've seen it other places. It's usually where it's almost always, actually, to my memory, it is always with effeminate men. And it's usually sort of done by bridging the line between effeminate gay and flamboyant ladies man, and like straddling that line deliberately. So, plus Carrie Fisher just started rewriting the dialogue. Yeah, Joel, that too. Alec Guinness hated the dialogue. Well, a lot of them did. I like the newest Star Wars trilogy. Not a popular opinion, but I enjoyed them. I like the first one, you know, for the energy. I appreciate what Last Jedi was trying to do. I don't think it either succeeded in doing a lot of what it was trying to do very well, and also some of what it was trying to do, I don't think it should have been trying to do, but I do understand what it was after. And then, like, Rise of Skywalker is just the single most indulgent fanfic movie that has ever existed since Chronicles of Riddick. Is this a trope in media aimed at women? I don't know. 255. I think it is a trope in media that writers do to satisfy themselves and convince themselves that they're clever. Not everything is necessarily aimed at an audience. Sometimes it's something that creators do to be proud of themselves. And that it feels more like that to me. Rogue One, yes, Ms. Wicked Wolf. Outside of the trilogy, Rogue One is a genuinely good movie, and I like that one. Solo is not. Solo is not a good movie. I don't like that one. But at least Riddick was weird. That series, oh boy, that is on, that third movie especially is on my list of videos that I want to make, but know will flop. Because a lot of the stuff that I'm really excited to make a video about is virtually guaranteed to flop and get very low views, which is frustrating. But yeah, the third Riddick movie is on my list because that movie is its own trilogy. And it's so weird. And I want to pick it apart. And I want to talk about it. But it's, you know, it's the same with Gallivant. I want to make a video on Gallivant so bad, and I have for years. But I'm like, it's going to tank. It's going to completely flop and completely tank. So, what about you? Do them as a short? Ms. Wicked Wolf, what part of I'm excited to talk about it and have a lot of thoughts and things to say are you not getting? If I could say it in a short, I'd say it in a short, but I have a lot of things I want to say. Like, if it was only a small amount of my time, then it wouldn't be a waste of my time because it would be taking so little time. But for me to do what I want to do is going to be a lot of my time, which would be a waste of my time, at least in terms of my finances, because it would flop when I eventually put it out. There you go. My favorite point in Mira's character arc was when she said she wouldn't cosplay the 15th Doctor, then changed her mind. I think when I said that, I don't know if I definitively said I wouldn't. I think I said I didn't know if I would. I can't remember now. I might have said it the other way. But it, like, that was something that I was just overtly cautious about at the time. But like, as time passed and I heard from other people and cosplayers, and particularly cosplayers of color, they were like, no, just, what are you worrying about? Just go ahead. So I was like, oh, okay. I guess I was just being overly cautious on that. Fan fiction or fan service? What? Rise of Skywalker? Fan fiction. It's fan fiction. It's not fan service. No, absolutely not. It is pure fan fiction. Can you think of anything more fan fiction-y than, and then Palpatine returns, and then there's an entire fleet of oh god, what are they called? The Star Destroyers. There's an entire fleet of Star Destroyers, and every single one of them has a Death Star cannon. And then every single ship that's ever been on the good guys' side shows up, and they're all fighting, and Palpatine is force lightning the entire fleet. And then Rey comes up with a lightsaber, and Palpatine's using the lightning, but oh, she has a second lightsaber. Like, what? I cannot think of anything more more over-caffeinated fan fiction than that movie. It's amazing and terrible. I wonder if it's a trope that pops up in media aimed at women because some women find metrosexual men attractive and like the idea of them turning out to be straight or bi. Possibly 255. It's not something I put that much thought into. My cat is obsessed with my papyrus plant, even though eating the plant makes the cat sick. Peak cat behavior right there. Do you think they could make an Andor-like Star Trek show about the Bajoran resistance during the Cardassian occupation? Not that the current people in Star Trek would dare. Oh yeah, no, they wouldn't. God, Strange New World seems like terrified to make a point this season. It's so frustrating. Could they do it? Sure. Would they? In a novel series, maybe. As a show, never. They can't put the Federation and Starfleet front and center with that premise. So no, they wouldn't do it. Heard that Star Wars rant in Patton Oswalt's voice. Yeah, I think he and I can bring similar energy on that. When I think fanfic, I think shipping, but then it does also have Raylo. It does. See, I think fanfic, just going way bigger than anyone actually involved with the property ever should. That's what I tend to think of with fanfic. But then again, I have not really engaged in the shipping side of, I mean, not that I've engaged with fanfic much at all, but I definitely haven't engaged with the shipping side of it, which I know feels like saying I love cheese and can't eat dairy. Like, isn't that the same thing? But, I didn't mean to get you that wound up. It happens. I've got a reminder, 90 proof honey bourbon in that. How much is left? No, I'm not going to pour that. That's like a shot. I'm not going to pour that in. I really like Torchwood. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I still need to see the 4th season. At some point, I really should. But there's some good episodes, but the only good season as a whole that I've seen is Children of Earth. Considering how long it took for this season of Strange New World to come out, I really have a feeling some things were cut as to not mess up the merger. Oh, I can virtually guarantee it, Hypno Amber. But, like, there's some episodes where it's super clear material was cut. The 7th episode, What is Starfleet, really suffers from that. That episode runs short. But there's others where that's basically the full length of an episode, and if they were able to trim out a political point and still have a full episode runtime, that means that the other episodes were making that point so minimally that you could remove it and still have most of the episode intact. You know? Having finished Andor, I got the impression it only got made because the executives genuinely don't understand what it's actually about or trying to say. No, not quite 255. It got made because they were desperate. Like, they were not especially keen on the ideas that Tony Gilroy was pitching, but nobody else could crack the story of what to do, because it was one of those cases where they announced the show before there was a plan. And they were nervous about his ideas from the get-go, but nobody else had a better idea. And they needed something in the slot. So they let him do his own thing, basically because they didn't have anyone else with an idea that they felt like would actually work. They knew what he was doing. They did not particularly like it, but they were stuck with it because it was either that or cancel the project. And they were already, like, facing enough backlash and canceling other stuff that, no, wasn't a great idea. There's a 4th series of Torchwood. Yeah, Tabletop Transformer Miracle Day. Doctor Who got taken off HBO. That sucks. Yeah, Aaron, that's part of why I mentioned earlier that I'm probably going to get rid of my HBO Max subscription once Peacemaker is over. What is Starfleet? Who is Starfleet? Why is Starfleet? Well, the answer to what is Starfleet, Jenny, is Starfleet is the friends we made along the way. And I wish I was joking. that is actually kind of the conclusion of that episode. Who's your favorite Doctor in Doctor Who? For me, personally, Peter Capaldi, 12th Doctor, is my personal favorite. My favorite from the classic era is Sylvester McCoy. Torchwood Season 2 leaned into the best thing to do with Season 1 material, embrace the camp. Season 1 thought it was actually good, serious adult sci-fi. Season 2 is better than Season 1 and definitely has some of the best stuff in it, but it still falls apart, especially by the end. Like, the story they decided to hinge the last arc or whatever on was just... bleh. I love Mbenga, best new character. I think Mbenga was actually in the original series at some point. Ambiguous. But I like him. Don't always super enjoy what they do with him, but I do like him. Honestly, I've really liked this take on Scotty. I've liked him a lot too. Supreme Omega back again. With just a few minutes left before we wrap up. It's odd Star Wars has been so stuffed with lore and retcons because A New Hope is pretty simple. A fairy tale story with a princess and a farm boy. Yeah. You'd think, you know, somebody would remember Keep It Simple, but yeah, no. Not so much. Yeah, I remember you saying that on Blue Sky. Said there's nothing strange or new happening. Yeah, I remember that reply, Jenny. But yeah, oh, that episode was... Oh, that was bad. That was so bad. And I've got to watch episode 8, which I know I'm going to hate. I know I'm going to loathe episode 8 because it was the same episode as the clip that they showed before like months ago, where like they genetically alter a bunch of the crew to make them Vulcans, and then they start immediately being racist at Spock. It was such cringe, like on purpose. It's being cringe comedy on purpose, but if you know me, you know I hate cringe, and now I'm gonna have to deal with eugenics cringe. Like, oh God. Oh God, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. When I watch episode 8, it is going to hurt. I liked Exit Wounds, although Gray the villain is a bit dull. I hate Gray. Gray is the problem. Gray is bad as a concept. And I'm pretty sure they cast this actor just because he looked a little bit like John Barrowman. I don't like to blame actors when a performance doesn't work. I am more apt to blame writers and directors. But he has no presence whatsoever. And it's so bad. It sinks the entire finale. Ugh. Well, that's it. It's the end of my cider. And let me just see chat one more time. Get wasted to analyze it. I'm tempted, Laura. I'm tempted. I just don't know if I can like set aside the time to actually get as drunk as I would need to be. I think I'm just gonna have to suffer through it. Speaking of Star Trek, I couldn't stand Orville. I only did a few episodes at the front end. It seemed fine. I never came back to it. Not just because Seth MacFarlane is obviously transphobic, because it was just too corny and the writing was meh. I'm gonna push back on the idea that Seth MacFarlane is transphobic. Some of his writing has been, and some of the shows that he is a producer on absolutely have been. I am going to push back on the notion that he himself definitely is. And as a wonderful segue, Saturday's video is going to be about how you should not try to read insights into the personality and beliefs of an artist based solely off of their art. So you managed to give me the opportunity to demonstrate exactly what I'm going to be talking about on Saturday. There will be no gaming streams in the break room of Geeks this week because I will be traveling over to Oregon for Rose City Comic Con. So if you are at Rose City Comic Con, say hi. It'd be great to see you. So yeah, that'll be about it for this one. More stuff will go up in the break room because I've shot a bunch of stuff in advance. But yeah. So thank you all very much. I hope that you take care of yourselves. Be well, be safe, be kind. You are beautiful, you are valid, and you are loved. You are the council, and I am just running the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned. McCavity!